Myself, Sarvesh, and I'm the founder and CTO of DataNav Technologies. I'm an SAP certified professional and have done my master's in MIT, and I've been in entrepreneurship journey since last 6 years. And today's webinar, which I would like to discuss, is more towards ABAP on GRC. So I've just categorized this into four different sections. So the first is on the technological side. Uh, the second one is on the biggest problem or the challenges what as a consultant, as a company, and as an individual, like we all face. The third thing is a solution or the offering from where, like how we can get this. And of course, like the future is all about like how we can take it forward and so on. So let me just get into the first and the foremost slide on the technological side. So as GRC got evolved between 2006 2007 timeframe, and that is the time frame on which the complete transitioning of entire SAP landscape and slowly the incorporation of web application server and subsequently movement or transition from basically the transaction based system into the web based system started more and more in the application landscape of all the SAP components. GRC has predominantly been developed and it has been designed and developed on WebDyn Pro technology. And again, 2013, 2014 timeframe, when the second version of GRC started releasing from the 10.0 to 10.1. And at that point of time, the traction is more towards UI5 and Fury. And again, in 2019, 2020 timeframe, the traction is more towards the cloud. So that way, if you see or if you compare traditionally with our other components of SAP, whether it can be SAP ERP or SAP S4, or it can be whether CRM or in any other modules of SAP, either the component or the application which will be written in one specific logic and the entire flow will be maintained in that particular logic. Since GRC has evolved along with the ABAP, and ABAP has seen the different journey in last 20 odd years, and GRC being a product on the similar lines on the similar time frame where the ABAP was getting transitioned, the same impact is also available in the GRC. So if you see GRC, there are a couple of applications which has been written in web, the couple of applications which has been written in WebDyn Pro framework, couple of applications are written in SAP GUI framework, and couple of applications or the use cases are being written in UI5. And again, if we see or if we take GRC, the one more common thing what we see is most of the things based on process control and risk management as a module. So most of the items like whatever we would be having in process control and risk management, it will be primarily developed in advanced ABAP. So either it can be UI5 or whether it can be uh, a Fury and whether it can be WebDyn Pro component. And most of the time, from the workflow standpoint, risk management and process control will be primarily focusing on task-based workflow. Whereas if you see access control predominantly has taken BRF plus or process-based workflow. And all the workflows like whatever we see in access management, it is more towards the it's more on the process governed workflow. So the debugging of the same topic and the same methodology when it comes to a process control based workflow and when it comes to a task based workflow is totally different. So the same thing is also goes into other attributes or other things whatever we have in all the section between process control and risk management, the methodology, the application navigation and all that will be different, and the logic on which the codes has been written will be different, and in access control it will be totally different. So some of the earlier logics has also been updated in access control and it has been carried forward. So that way, as a functional consultant, it is mission critical for us to understand the importance of ABAP as a language, and the more amount of customizations we get in ABAP exclusively in GRC time frame, or like considering GRC as a reference, then it's very difficult to handle those customizations without the overall knowledge of how things are happening in ABAP. And I'm just trying to quote another example where we have an offline functionality in process control and risk management, which has been primarily driven through OWP or offline work process or Adobe Forms, whereas the complete online functionality does not exist in uh, access control. Most of the functionalities, whether it is control design assessment, self-assessment, disclosure survey, all the functionalities where we have extensive offline functionality, almost everything in process control and risk management, we have an offline functionality, whereas there is no concept of offline functionality in access control. So again, if you want to do any customization on those, we need another advanced ABAP skill called as Adobe Forms or OWP to carry out this. So all these are the practical challenges from the implementation standpoint because of versatility of all the different components which has been used by SAP developers and the framework what they have used. The biggest problem or the biggest issue what we will have when we want to deal with this aspect of GRC, mainly from the customization, it becomes if difficult. So let me just try to quote with a simple example. If I want to get a custom custom field in an access control form, I have an ARM form or I have an access request submission form, and I want to get a custom field in my ARM form. So typically, if I give this requirement to an ABAP consultant, so what they know is there is a WebDyn Pro component attached to it. If there is a WebDyn Pro component, definitely we have a pre-exit, post-exit, overwrite exit, and they will just go to the view, corresponding view to write this logic, and they will write it. This step is totally not at all required in ABAP, in GRC. We can achieve the same functionality in very easy and straightforward way. So basically, we just need to go and go to a table called as GRC REQ, and then SAP has already provided an include structure, and you just need to update that in the include structure. And once you update it in the include structure, then the logic is going to appear. The screens will appear. The same thing also goes in case of process control and risk management. If I want to bring a custom field in process control and risk management in any master data, I technically don't need to do anything on ABAP, pre-exit, post-exit, overwrite exit, or whatnot. Nothing to be done. There are simple 7 to 8 steps which we need to follow. And once we follow the steps, we are good enough to complete. The challenge what we have, we give this requirement to an ABAP consultant, and most of the time, the ABAP consultant will be a shared team. So they are not the set of people who will be exclusively working for GRC requirement. They will be working on ERP requirement. They will be working on BW requirement. They will be also working on GRC requirement. Because of the team structure of the ABAP itself, because most of the companies run ABAP like a factory. So the ABAP resource is not someone who is going to just work exclusively on the GRC. They'll be also working it on other different server, because for them ABAP is a language and they are going to run like a factory model. So because of the team structure itself, this important factors which we as an we as a functional consultant, we need to empower the ABAP consultants, and to empower an ABAP consultants, we should be aware that there is something like this which needs to be followed and which needs to be guided, and that comes only with handling more and more customizations and taking the next step. The same thing also goes in case of an lack of subject, because I like in last 8 odd minutes, I was just speaking about some 8 different terminologies. I spoke about something called as WebDyn Pro. I spoke something about BRF Plus. I spoke something about Adobe Forms. I've spoken about the normal ABAP. I'm speaking about UI5. So one ABAP consultant or a group of ABAP consultant may not be equipped in all of these technologies. And that is one of the biggest other challenge what we have from the GRC standpoint. And this is something which needs extensive expertise on core topic of ABAP, of course, and at the same time, the ABAPer whom we are going to work or extensively we are going to do work with, so they should be also equipped with all advanced concept. Not only one ABAP consultant, we may need to have group of ABAP consultants to do this. The third thing is, of course, on the skill set. And if you see, like we have an RAP also coming up in ABAP, and in the recent version of GRC 12.2, there is also an introduction of overview pages, and where completely SAP UI5 facades, and those models are being used. And the next version of GRC, which is going to be out in 2026, it is exclusively going to be for S4 application. So more amount of HANA based logics and HANA based things are also going to come in ABAP. So which is again an important skill which we need to learn as a functional consultant first, and then subsequently pass on or transform that information to the ABAP team. So, okay, so surveys like this is okay. So now there is a technological, there are a wide variety of technologies what SAP has used, and there is also like the problem what we have with the existing way ABAP teams are being structured in an organization. So these are all the challenges what you have. So what is the solution that you are proposing, or what is the solution which you think like would be the way which you as an individual or we as DataNup can help? So that is the third important slide. So from the DataNup perspective, we are a group of consultants, and we extensively work, and we are mainly like GRC centric or GRC oriented company, and our focus is more on GRC and on the cyber security. And we provide an extensive consulting services both on a time and material basis as well as on a fixed engagement basis. And we also provide, or we can take this as a turnkey engagement on a specific ABAP requirement. We have done a good amount or great amount of customizations on SAP GRC way back from 2013 onwards till date. Close to 10 years of experience we have it in this particular space, both in product development as well as in building the structure and so on. So we have extensively worked on this lines. And coming on to the training, we also empower you as a functional consultants, and of course the ABAP community to get upskilled on this technologies, so that you understand the real attributes of how to do things. So starting from how you need to give requirements to the ABAP consultant. When you want to give a requirement to the ABAP consultant, what are the factors which you need to consider? When you are doing changes, what is the naming convention standard which is SAP is using? So that if at all the naming convention standard contains something called as GRFN, that indicates it's a cross foundation, meaning or it is the global foundation, which will have an impact on other components. You are making customization in process control. It will also have an impact on access control and risk management because you are using a GRFN component. So this kind of skill set or this kinds of knowledge is required in order to empower yourself, so that you give the better requirement and the correct way of doing things. So that is what, from the training perspective, we can empower you guys. And the last one is on the future. So as you may be knowing, and based on that information only, like we are all here. So as a service, like I'm easily approachable via email, and I keep writing most of the things, most of the blogs, and I keep publishing blogs on my website as well as on my LinkedIn page. So I would request you to follow me on LinkedIn. And very recently, I've also published on, I'm speaking more on IAG, I speak more on SAP Cloud, I speak on BTP, and I'm also in my next set of series planned for this year and for next year, I'm going to speak extensively on how to empower ABAP to do and to learn ABAP from the functional aspect. This is something which I'll be writing extensive blogs on. And my contact details is also available in my LinkedIn page. And I also have, or I also run my YouTube channel. So I keep myself engaged to the community, so that like we all get benefit by sharing the thoughts and the common things like what we can work. So if you have any queries, or like if you have any questions, so please do drop me an email or drop me a note, and I will be very happy to take up it and try to answer or try to reply back to you guys. So that's all I had for today. And thank you. Thanks a lot for connecting. Take care, everyone. Bye.